This is my patch 8.12 rundown. Beginning of every rundown, I usually talk about the state of the game. The state of the game is kind of weird at that right now, with a lot of AD carries being in the dumpster, especially crit ADs. Additionally, I think that Riot Games still hasn't fixed certain problems, like the support strength being relatively high. Generally, I think the Enchanter class in general tends to be very powerful, and right now in competitive games, you're seeing double supports every game. And it's starting to become a little bit of a problem. And so hopefully in this patch, I'm able to see crit marksman get buffed at the very least, and supports getting taken down to some degree. There are also problems with Zoe and Aurelia specifically in mid lane, and Aurelia just in general. I think she's like over the top ridiculous champion, and I hope to see nerfs to those champions as well. But I heard there weren't any, but we'll see what happens. What are they gonna do? So, plan between now and preseason is mainly to smooth out. Oh, whoops! I forgot I was queued up. Plan between now and preseason is mainly to smooth out rough edges and balance issues. Meaning, until preseason comes around, patches will be less disruptive than what you've seen over the last few months. Isn't preseason already out? Oh, preseason as in this is midseason, so preseason as in like after Worlds. Okay. Less disruptive than what you've seen. Cool. We're tuning down the duration of allied shield abilities and strength of Forbidden Idol with the goal of making shields more fair to play against. Fighters have also gotten stronger. We're holding off most of these changes until the dust clears. I actually don't. I think competitively it sucks to have the bruiser items be put in the game, but I think casually I think it'd be kind of enjoyable to have them. So I am kind of torn on how I want this, that, or how I see this, but it's fine. Let's keep looking at the rest of the patch notes. Elise used to be monster AP champion, best AP assassin in the game from the jungle, and she was dominant for multiple seasons in a row until she got gutted multiple times. What are they doing now? So he's pretty far below average Echo jungler, so the runaway clear for direct buffs. Okay, they're buffing her move speed to help her roam and gank stuff. Cool. And they're buffing her volatile spire damage by 5 to 240. Nothing serious in terms of early game, but it gets a little bit better kind of toward the mid game. I think it's okay. It's not a big deal. I think that at least deserves buffs. And so I like seeing this. There's nothing over the top. I don't think she's going to be super OP. In fact, right now in her position, she's going to be fighting Evelyn for her exact role. And so I think that Evelyn at the moment is better than her, which is not what I expected to say maybe a couple months ago. So I have no problem with them buffing her at all. Ezreal armor decrease. Ezreal still running rampant around scaling nerfs? Yes. He's still OP with Kaisa and Lucian, I think. We're making it easier to boot him out of lane without letting him hit his item cost thresholds. In particular, this may leave him stuck on tier without damage items for longer. So they nerfed his base armor, and these went live last patch. Okay, so we saw the hot fixes for Ezreal. They lowered his armor. I think that this is probably a good approach for it, because what ends up happening is it gives you a longer window to harass Ezreal while he's buying tier 2 Gauntlet or tier 2 Mana Immune. And I think that's really good because this is a champion that can look to stack a lot of armor with a combination of both Tabby and Gauntlet, and most ADs don't get the option of going so armor heavy. Usually they have to cut into like a GA to do that, but Ezreal can have literally a core build Gauntlet. So I don't mind making Ezreal safer or less safe to play, because he is one of the safest champions in the game right now. This seems like relatively minor nerf. I don't think it'll affect him too much, but this is like, I would say, a good way to go to nerfing Ezreal. Kindred, attack speed growth increased, Q attack speed, or attack speed growth increased, Q attack speed increased, E damage increased, Q attack speed increased. I didn't even know Q gave her a bonus attack speed buff. Holy shit. Okay, well that's I just learned that. Cool. Taking losses from both risk schedule changes and Zeal item nerfs. We're building on last patch's buffs, focusing on adjusting Kindred's early marks to account for schedule changes. Have your power-ups this time? Well, she's going to scale super well with this buff. This is a really, really good buff to her as well. And she gets 20 base or 15 base on E. That allows her to skirmish better earlier. She's getting kind of scary. I think that Kindred right now I see Kindred as weak Graves. Like, weak Graves, but interesting ult utility. So at some point, Kindred becomes if Kindred becomes equal to Graves, due to her ulti just alone, she's gonna have a lot more potential to be put in certain team comps, and I think that that's really interesting. I do understand that she got nerfed a lot from the Zeal item changes because she was a champion that wanted to go at like 2 Zeal items usually in her full item build. I think she's a very, very interesting champion, and a champion that you should be looking at right now because she potentially has what it takes to be able to punch into meta junglers like Trundle, for instance, which tend to be really poor into range consistent damage dealers that are AD, similar to Graves. So I think that it's very interesting for Kindred. She'll probably see a lot more play now. Cool. Oh, maybe not a lot more play, but she's definitely going to be better than expected. Generally, the one thing I have to say is Kindred's typically pretty bad without being able to secure like scuttles at the moment, right? So I don't necessarily know if these buffs help her do that enough, especially early game, because she's a relative snowball champion. You secure the first couple marks, you can secure more marks later on, and maybe it's not enough to push her back toward being like relatively good, but I guess we'll see. Lee Sin, W cooldown decrease. Whoa, E damage increase. Really? Lee's getting buffed? Okay. I mean, I love Lee Sin buffs. I don't think he's that bad, but when I play Lee Sin, I just feel like I need to be working harder than other junglers. So I would say that, like, yeah, he's bad, but like the trade-off is the fact that you get to play a super fun champion. So I'm okay with his current state. Rai thought that he could use a little bit of love. Who am I to say no? I would be pretty pissed actually if Lee got buffs like this and other weaker jungglers didn't, but you see buffs onto Kindred here to be able to help her out in the jungle. It's Annalise, and so I'm not too opposed to buffs like this. Poppy, passive cooldown decrease, Q cooldown decrease, ratio increase. Give Poppy a bit more oomph throughout the game, particularly with aggressive builds. What is this? Oh, it's late game. It's not the early game. Aggressive builds? What are aggressive builds? She doesn't have aggressive builds. Well, I mean the seconds are nice, like really nice. The most aggressive you can build Poppy is Triforce into other items. So I mean, I guess Triforce Sterix is fine, but like, I mean, it's just kind of awkward. I think this buff is going to be helpful for sure, though. This is the thing you should be looking at. The 1 second off for Q is going to be helpful, especially late game to be able to match split pushers and push them off. Cool. I think she did need some buffs because she's relatively weaker on the tank side. Things hopefully will bring her more in line. Rumble, W shield increase, W R damage increase. We're leaning toward Rumble's lane bully strengths to make fights more favorable and letting him carry that lead more convincingly. Okay. They increase the base shield by 20, shield ratio by 0.1, and holy shit, his ulti does. Oh my god, what? His ulti gets 0.25 over the duration. I mean, it's a full 5 seconds, right? So it's 0.5 on every tick. Or 0.05 on every tick. But still, 50 to 150. That's a really good buff for his equalizer. It seems like it's a lot more than it is. Usually you only take about like 2 to 3 ticks from his ulti. But it's definitely going to reward you a lot more for hitting it. And I think Rumble's in a relatively weak state, but he's very, very scary if he gets ahead. So very interesting buffs. You might see him back again in certain matchups. Both of these are definitely bigger buffs than I expected. Like way bigger buffs than I expected. Wow. Rumble is gonna definitely see some experimental play, if not like a decent amount of play. Sejuani, Icebreaker deals more damage, but no longer a cooldown against them. More units can be frozen. W costs less. Now his AP ratio is E damage. Oh wow. So she's getting buffed a lot. We're giving her healthier clear, giving her more itemization flexibility by letting her feel good about building AP. Okay. Enemy champions. Okay. This is really nice. I think mana buffs are nice. It allows you to skip and go toward the Bomby Cinder a lot earlier. And she gets AP ratio on her W. Wow, 0.8. Really? That's so much. Enemy champions, epic large monsters, medium, super minions, siege minions. Damage increased to this. Wow, she got 0.3 AP ratio on this as well. That's a lot of random AP ratios, actually. Huh. Then they buff her by what? They gave her 0.8, 0.3, 1.1 on her entire kit, and her Q already has something, right? And so there's ulti. Well, I'm gonna be trying AP more AP options on this champion, but I think what is this? This is the most important thing. Enemy champions, large monsters. They removed the non-champion cooldown. Oh, so you're able to just spam it onto creeps. Attack speed is going to be more valuable for you to help clear the jungle then. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. This is really interesting. I would like to see what her full clear looks like now. She's going to be a lot better at clearing the jungle, in my opinion, especially if it's max health. Talia, Q rocks beyond the first steal, slightly less. Okay, this champion needs to be nerfed. I think Talia is one of the best junglers in the game right now, and so I think that, like, yeah, let's nerf her. So they unfix the hotfix for a Q. Okay, she's still gonna be really good, like disgustingly good. She's probably gonna need nerfs relatively soon, but yeah, no, she's one of the best junglers in the game right now. Congratulations. Went from best mid lane, one of the best mid lane champs, to one of the best jungle champs. Kind of really awkward. Q. Yorick is kind of a weird situation in the sense that Yorick is not really played at all anymore, except for by really, really dedicated players. I never see this champion anymore. So Mistwalkers have made now update their stats when Yorick's stats change, okay? And they're buffing him because they're nerfing Trinity Sterix, and all the Trinity Sterix users are gonna get nerfed. Okay. And they can't sidestep this Yorick. Makes sense. I still think he could probably use a little bit more love. Generally think this champion is relatively weak. But full second off his Q, certainly it's nice. Four shot override Storm Raiders guaranteed crit. Okay, cool. I already saw these mid-season patch notes. They essentially nerf Kaisa, buff Yasuo, buff Pyke. Cool. Allied shield abilities. These packs comes on two parts. Abilities that shield allies and items that give shield strength. On the ability front, we're tightening up the timings required for gifted shields, and we should not be able to play around. And we should be able to play around shields in some scenarios of baiting them out. I agree. On the front end, the Defibrillator item line has been incredibly stat efficient since the introduction of Heal Shield back in Season 6. This is meant to offset support's historical lack of income, but the economy changed in 2 years since. Simple stat nerfs these items will bring them more reasonably in line. Okay, so let's see. Now the case is duration with a 0.75 duration grace period, especially because it gives bonus AD. Cool. I think all these buffs are great. Like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Because the thing is, if a support gets strong, supports can't mess up their lead as easily as other champions. Like, if I'm playing Fizz and I throw my ulti and it misses, well, wow, I lost like a lot of my burst upfront damage. But Jaina can't really miss her shield, and even if she ultis nothing, she still heals the team. And the same is true for stuff like Lulu, in the sense that, like, there's not much burden for them to be able to be effective, and if they play well, they can just murder a fight. And so I think nerfing the duration is really helpful for this, and this. This is the biggest nerfed. Oh my god. The shield duration nerfed to 2.5 seconds. It seems like 2.5 is kind of the duration they're going with. It is definitely like a pretty humongous nerf. Now, this is the thing I'm most interested in, because Ori was never considered a support champion, and it seems like they're normalizing all shields in general. And so I think Orianna is relatively weak right now, and she's getting another nerf that hurts her a lot to be able to go through certain aspects of her early and mid game, and this just comes as a package deal to make sure all the shields are in line. So I'm hoping Ori probably gets some small compensation nerfs or buffs later. I'm surprised that it seems like Soraka didn't get touched here. I say that similar to the rest of the supports, like it's hard to mess her up. But it looks like they just targeted shields in specific, shields specifically. And let's see the rest of it. So they're able to, they targeted healing power in the items. So I guess that's an indirect nerf. The CDR decreases, the heal shields decreases 5%, 8%, 8%. The changes in part invisible challenge of harmony buff. Fruiting item brought in line challenge stands a chance of making it to enchanter laning paths, ensuring this. Okay. More damage is converted to healing charges. Cool. You'll probably see this item a lot more, especially with maybe some of the nerfs to the rest of the stuff. I mean, this is still relatively situational item, but I mean, it is very good when it works out. Like you'll see Nidalee get this a lot. Banner. Now, this is the really interesting item. I don't know what to think about Banner in the sense that I think that there should be more items in the game that do stuff. I think right now, draft dictates a lot of the game state. And I think that items are a good safety valve toward champion strains. Like you can have items that tend to do well or tend to do well into certain team comps or certain champions. But I did think banner was a really big problem, and I think that they had a lot of trouble balancing it. So I would say they did the second best solution of just removing it and kind of trying to balance everything else that they're doing, because they're trying to do a lot of sweeping changes right now that I already glanced over. And I think them trying to balance banner while in the state where they're trying to balance all this other stuff is really, really hard for them to be able to do. I don't mind it if seriously they're just like, you know what, we're struggling to do two things at once, so we're just gonna nerf this and come back later. I think I'd rather them do that than keep it in the game. Cool. Sterix Gauge. So this is the indirect nerf to all Sterix Trinity users. Designed as a Juggernaut item, but has become a Trinity Force combo piece due to granting additional base AD. Yes. We're swapping Sterix to grant bonus AD to some degree of a side grade. This will gain damage through the bonus AD ratios and abilities rather than Spellblade procs. On the other hand, non-Trinity Juggernauts can make better use of the Sterix than before. So grants 50% of base AD as bonus attack damage. Certain champions will be able to use this more who benefit from AD, but it tends to indirectly nerf stuff like Aurelia, which is really problematic. Stuff like Camille, and even champions like Fiora that who go Sterix at some point. I think that this is a good change, and it's definitely been a long time coming. I really wish they had directly nerfed Aurelia, but this is, I'll take this, you know. And a lot of other users now who have AD on their kit might want to go this, because when you typically buy Sterix, it's a non-burst tool. You use it a lot to stuff like assassins to be able to survive their burst and tend to go off with other stuff. And so, for instance, now when I look at this item, I see stuff like, you know, potentially Lee Sin might be interesting in the sense that, like, against stuff like Zed or Talon, I might opt for an offensive defensive item like Sterix as opposed to something like Randuin's instead. Anyways, just my thoughts. So bug fixing, many champions with ultimate abilities use pets or controlled activations that probably grant presence of mind. Okay. Celerity, carving out deeper identity for Celerity grants less bonus move speed, but doubled the conversion rate means other speed groups will grant users more adaptive stats than before. Wow, it doubles it, but grants less bonus move speed. I think I like this. I think you should want to go Celerity if you're a champion that benefits a lot to have speed boosts. And it should, for that one immediate burst or the semi-immediate gain of AD or AP. So stuff like Hecarim, for instance, this is like a rune you should pick up if you have that. It shouldn't be a rune you pick up on every single champion, because move speed allows you to be better at trading, it allows you to dodge skill shots, allows you to get back to lane faster. Like, it was definitely something that became too good for what it was. And now that it shares the same tree, it still shares the same tree as Transcendence. You'll see it picked up a lot more because of this nerf. Halo Blades. Yeah, this thing sucks. So they're buffing it by 50% level 1. and it goes to 125%. Hey, I thought it was just god awful. I've seen it experimented on stuff like Rek'Sai, on Kindred, and hopefully this is better now. To be honest, I'm not super enthused by the Keystone in period. I think that is lethal tempo but front loaded, meaning that it should have more precise uses, but it just feels relatively. I don't know if the game needed another lethal tempo, right? I was hoping for like maybe a different Keystone. I don't think it's fine to be in the game. It's just not what I expected them to release, and so far has had no effect on my games, pretty much. Lastly, assistance. We're chipping this away over a few patches, of course. New player experience. We're updating our tutorials. Actually, very good. I think that they need to make it so that if you want to make sure League doesn't like go down, they need to make sure that they're able to attract new players. And so when new players come in, leveling to 30 is a brutal experience. The old tutorial just sucked. There's no fun about it. And I actually don't know how I got through the tutorial or I got through the early levels. I think I just grinded it away and just tried to forget about it, you know? I think that Riot should try to cater toward new players because they want to be bringing new players in. Emotes update. I don't super care about emotes. I'm gonna be honest. I don't use them at all. um, they're not gonna directly affect your games. Yeah, I'm gonna keep passing. Upcoming skins. Lee Sin gets a skin. Actually not enthused at all about this one. Oh, this one's okay. Huh. The patch is kind of strange. I think I should be more excited about the Enchanter nerfs. I do think that that's a really good step in the right direction. For Riot, I think this is a long time coming. Nerfing these items as well as this. I'm surprised Zeke's, to be honest, was a nerf, but sure. I do think Banner Command removing this will overall make a better game. The Sterix Gauge buff, or I would say nerf to a lot of the strong champions is really good as well. And I think even nerfing Celerity is really good. I don't know why I have kind of a weird feeling about this patch. I guess it's the situation that I expected more. And I think when I first heard that I expected bruiser items and I didn't get that, it kind of let me down. I like objectively in hindsight, I'm trying to think about the patch and I think that is a good step in the right direction. But I would like to see, you know, some of the ultra OP champions like Aurelia, Zoe get toned down a bit, but potentially for them to look at teleport, because I think having 3 people run teleport a game is probably really, really bad as a standard and not just like a situational thing. But okay, that's pretty much it. Let's head over to Aatrox. So for people who don't know, in full disclosure, I playtested Aatrox and I went into Riot Studios a couple months ago. The thing is, he didn't look like this. Like visually, it was like a different champion, and it was so beta in their playtest that you didn't have any visuals onto the 2 abilities. So I just saw blue boxes for hitboxes, and I was like, I can't even tell what this champion is doing, and it was highly experimental. So to be honest, I saw a little bit of the champion and what they wanted to do with it, but in all honesty, I didn't get really any kind of playtesting with the champion because it was just so rough around the edges. So first things first, I really like the fact that like his sword is like, you know, a beating heart. I like that a lot. I think that's cool. Fallen God Warrior was once present to destroy Runeterra. Aatrox and his kin bound to ancient weapons and imprisoned for centuries. The age is over. Yeah. He's coming back. Cool. Badass. Okay, got it. Passive, Deathbringer stance. Aatrox's next base of auto has increased range and deals a percentage of target's maximum health as a damage. This attack also significantly reduces all healing and shielding on targets for a few seconds. Oh, so it reduces healing and shielding? And shielding? That's so weird. Cooldown is specifically reduced when Aatrox casts a spell or when he lands to the edge of Darkened Blade on a champion. Whoa! So you can cut it shorter by... Okay. That's what the debuff looks like. If he lands his abilities, he can get the buff over again. Okay. So you get rewarded for landing your abilities a lot. And oh wow, look at that shield. It literally is nothing. Oh, it decays, sorry. Shield is almost nothing. Cool. What a unique on hit. Cool, let's go Q. Sweets' greatsword up 3 times. Each cast increases in damage. Impacts a unique area effect and a hit with the edge. And I can't hit with the edge of the blade. A second smaller hitbox. Hitting at the edge, hitting champions at the far edge. First to cast in the center of the third briefly knocks them up and deals significantly more damage. It actually is like you're playing like a weird version of Riven. I like it though. I think that there's clear hitboxes for it, and that you know exactly what range you're going to be looking for. And to be honest, this is a good matchup of someone who can exploit this range really easily by hugging the this champion up until the third hit. Okay. W smashes the ground, damaging the first enemy hit, briefly slows them. If it's a champion in a large area, they are chained to the impact area. If they're chained, enemy is still in the impact area. After a few seconds, they are dragged to the center. So it's a displacement. Okay. Smashes the ground. First enemy hit. So it only hits first enemy. And it only applies. So you can hide behind creeps or units for this. And it only applies to one target. Can be, and if the chain only affects a champion. Okay. That's it? That looks so bad. Aatrox dashes, increases his attack range. And he heals for a portion of the damage he deals. Okay, so he's got lifesteal passive. Death Stance passive. He can store up to 2 charges. Okay. Sorry, the dash is just so small. Can be used with Q? But I can't even see it. Is he using it? What? I can't even see it. That's just... They're just showing the heal, right? Why didn't they show the dashes? What? I want to see this. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because I want to see how it interacts with his Q, right? Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. World Ender unleashes his full might, becoming monstrous in size, taking flight. A massive leads as he transforms. Aatrox fears nearby enemies. Okay, this AoE CC briefly increases his movement speed. Okay. While transformed, increases his overall damage, gains a blood well that stores health over World Ender's duration, reviving him when he takes lethal damage while in this true form. Okay, cool. He only heals up to his bar, so if you kill him early, like he's not gonna heal that much. Like there? Okay, cool. And over the duration, he heals up. Okay, so you probably want to do it like somewhat early in the fight. Plays Aatrox, Infernal Warlord who cleaves Earth Massacres. I don't care. Okay, cool. Let's watch. Oh, you can do it right after the Q? Oh, that looks so weird. Visually, that looks so weird. I'm kind of pissed looking at it, dude. If I got hit with this in game, I'd be like, what is this dash animation? Because you don't even get to see it, right? It looks kind of clunky, to be honest. He can move while rezzing? That's interesting. He's kind of cool. I like him. I think I think what would be really cool is if his ulti made his stuff bigger or feel better. I think he's got like the kit to look really cool, but he's missing like the big wow factor. Like, he looks really clunky though. It's gonna take a while to get used to him for sure. I'm interested to see how well he can lane in jungle. But I guess that cuts it. That's it for this. It only took 30 minutes. Wow, dude. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with myself. I'll see you guys in a little bit.